Hello, welcome back to my writing vlog series about Project Katrina. This is writing vlog number 28. I'm filming this on the 17th of November 2025. In this writing vlog, I'm going to read through 2 chapters and maybe I'm going to change something or maybe I'm just going to keep the chapters basically as they are. According to my old versus new outline, I have stated that just keep a chapter and then the number from the old version. And that's the same for this chapter and the next one. I'm going to read through chapter 13 and then chapter 14, and both chapters are basically going to be in the new version as well. Maybe I need to change something because it needs to flow with the rest of what I have written. I'm not quite sure if I need to change a lot of things in these 2 chapters because I have changed something or added something previously. I wanted to make sense to the reader, so there are no obvious, I won't say plot holes, but I don't want any mistakes or any I don't want the reader to be confused because of something that happens in these 2 chapters because they don't match with what I have written before. But hopefully they're quite straightforward and that I won't need to change a lot. I added a chapter before this. In the previous writing vlog, I read through a chapter and adjusted minor things, and then I added a new chapter. And because I added a chapter, the chapter numbers correspond again. So now chapter 13 in the new version is actually chapter 13 in the old version. And so I have just written keep this old chapter. I have been training myself to not look at the numbers for the old version, but just only look at the column with the new outline and what I need to do, and then when I get to the next part of the story, I can just look at that, and then whether it says write a new chapter or keep chapter X from the old version and stuff like that. The chapter numbers correspond again, but they won't do that for for that long because chapter 21 will be added. That and the next one will be new to the story, and those are those are chapters that I'm going to add to the story, and then the chapter numbers won't correspond again. But until then, I think I'm basically going to just keep the core of the story as it is. I have commented on what I wanted to do with this story before, and it was basically about expanding the beginning of the novel a bit and then adjusting the middle of the story when or if I need to do that, and then add a lot of new words toward the end of the story. And now I'm in this in between where I'm just reading through and then making adjustments when or if I need to make them. So I think and I hope that this that the work I have ahead of me today is going to be quite straightforward, but I will see about that. I'm not sure if I will get back to you when I have read chapter 13 and then work on the next one and get back to you again, or whether I will just read both of them. I can see in my outline that both chapters are about this new dog and my main character spending time with this family that she's living with now. And she's kind of in between as well. According to my old versus new outline, the document I have a column to the far right where I have the plot point, and the point in the novel where I'm at the moment is fun and games, and this chapter 13 and chapter 14 are going to be fun and games. So the fun and games section could be a bit longer. I don't think it would hurt the story at all. I think it would benefit from it, so we get to know them better and Katrina gets to know them better as well. there is going to to be a shift in the story, so the fun and games section ends. It has to move on, and there needs to be some build up, and there needs to be some drama, and so we're getting pushed farther into the story and getting closer to the climax. At this point, as I'm going to work on chapter 13 and 14, I'm almost halfway, I think. I'm not sure if I'm halfway in terms of the number of hours I have spent on this novel, because the big changes are going to take more time. And so as I'm getting farther or closer toward the end of the novel, I think I'm going to only have to work on one chapter per writing block. So I can see that chapter 21 and chapter 22 will be new chapters that I write from scratch, but chapter 24 is going to be completely new as well, and so are chapters 27, 28 and 29. So I'm basically adding a lot of new stuff in this novel toward the end. So that's because I felt like something was missing. I just built it up, and then when we finally got to the midpoint and onward, it just moved very quickly, and I wanted to not drag down the pace but expand upon the story, so when the finale hits, it hits harder. Otherwise we're just it was a rush. We're just quickly getting to the ending, and then what about all of the things that were relevant to include in the story? They were just skipped. And I have talked about it before. I'm not quite sure which writing vlog it was, but I commented on how I had skipped several of the plot points of a 27 chapter outline method. I can't remember which ones, but it was like I went from the build up and then the resolution. So the battle and climax, they were kind of mushed together in the last chapter, and then the story just ended. So I think there's room for improvement, and there's also room for adding more words and more chapters, and that's what I'm going to do later on. But for now, I'm going to focus on chapter 13 and chapter 14. So let's see how much I'm going to change, if I'm going to change anything. But I think it's a good thing that I just take the time to read through the chapters instead of just skimming and then, oh, they're probably fine, and then moving on to the next chapters. If there's something I want or need to adjust, I want to figure it out now, or at least make a note for myself later, so I know what I'm going to do with that. As I have said in earlier writing vlogs, this is the phase where I'm supposed to do the big picture edits, but I think I'm going to do some work on this novel once I'm done with these writing vlogs, that I'm going to work off camera and then read through everything one more time, and then take out maybe 1 or 2 chapters from the beginning. As I have talked about before, I have not 1 or 2 but 3 meetings in the beginning of the novel, and I don't think all of those are necessary. I have to figure out which ones I can take out of the novel, and I've heard somewhere that if you can remove an entire chapter and read it without that, and it still makes sense and it doesn't feel like anything is missing, then it's the right choice to take it out. So I will try to keep that in mind when I read through the novel one more time after this read through and rework. But yes, that's a problem for future me, I guess. But for now, I'm going to read through the 2 chapters and then get back to you.
You love me so deep, but I can't love you back. Stop before you're making me weep. You're making me slack. You love me so true, but I can't love you too. Stop before you're making me cry. I can't explain why. Tell me if I should laugh or cry. prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light. So don't say you need me tonight. Don't beg me to stay. I wanna have control. I'll cry if you lash out and say that you own my soul. Is this truth or dare? Then I won't be in there. You freak out, but then you hold my hand, so I doubt where I stand. Tell me if I shall laugh or cry, prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light. So don't say you need me tonight. Don't make me turn now to look in your sad eyes. Yet I just can't tell you somehow. Shall I laugh or cry? Tell me what to do to avoid hurting you. You tell me that I ought to know. Just tell me to go. Tell me if I shall laugh or cry, prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light. So don't say you need me tonight. Put away your grace and put on a mad face. I can show you the hidden trace to my sacred place. You need to help me to answer truthfully. Love me for one you thought I'd be. Pressures me to see. Tell me if I shall laugh or cry, prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light. So don't say you need me tonight. Tell me if I shall laugh or cry, prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light. So don't say you need me tonight. Tell me if I shall laugh or cry, prepare me to hide my eyes. But just don't ask me why. I can take the hurt and the lies and tell me to be wrong or right. Then we can avoid a fight back and forth from the light.
Hello again. I have now read through both chapters, and for chapter 13 I basically kept things as they are, except for the fact that I tweaked it a bit at the beginning, because Katrina talks to her new family about this dog that she's going to get, and they question why she wants a specific dog, but they kind of already, or they do already know that, because I included stuff about that in the previous chapter that I wrote. That's basically where she talks about Cooper and how or why she wants that specific dog. And so I had to tweak it a bit so it doesn't seem like they don't know it at all. They ask in a way that seems like they don't have a clue why she's looking for one specific dog, and instead they ask, why do you want Cooper? Oh, can it be another dog or something? They question it, but I kind of think that it's also because I stated later on in that chapter that she has been to other shelters looking for Cooper, the specific golden retriever that she wants to have, and she hasn't found him yet. But her new family are coming along to this shelter in this chapter, and I start the chapter quite abruptly by stating something like, "Cooper, are you here?" or something like that. And then she goes along with the clerk or whatever that person is called out in the back to look for that specific dog. And then I weave in something like, this is the, I don't know if I state a number, but she has been to other shelters before and she hasn't found him. And I also mentioned something about how she knows that Cooper is maybe in or at a shelter. I didn't state it in the original version. Somehow Katrina just knows that she can adopt Cooper, but I have included something about her reading an obituary about the woman who had the dog, and then Katrina has gone on this quest to find the dog so she can adopt him instead. And she wants to cling to something familiar, and she wants to have this dog so she doesn't feel alone and lost anymore. And I state that directly in the chapter as well, toward the ending. So unfortunately, they actually find Cooper in chapter 13. I have 2 chapter breaks in that chapter, and she didn't find Cooper in the first part, and they have this puppy instead. And then in the next part, they're home, and one of the girls says, "Isn't he just cute?" Or it's actually Dina who says that, "Isn't he just cute?" And they all, "Oh, this puppy, and it's cute, and we're having fun." But Katrina isn't having fun, and she just wants to have Cooper. So that's what happens in this second part. She didn't find what she wanted, but the girls and her new family are happy, and she's happy that they're happy, but she doesn't feel fulfilled, if that makes sense. But she finds Cooper in the third part, and I start that section by a dialogue that's, "Cooper, is that really you?" And she's excited, and she finally found the dog. She's a bit unsure if it's really the same dog that she's been looking for, but they kind of find out that it is him. She realizes it is the same dog, but it doesn't recognize her. The dog warms up to her, and she's glad that she has found him as well. And yes, that's basically chapter 13. The quest for finding the dog, not getting the dog and being disappointed, and then finding the dog and being happy. The chapter is basically about Katrina finding what she wants, and this man that she's living with is kind of proud of her and says that it's typical you that you go after something that you want, and I admire that about you, and you shouldn't change. And it's I think it's true about Katrina that if there's something she wants, she strives hard to get that. But now that she has gotten Cooper, she's probably looking for something else that she wants, because of course having a dog doesn't make her feel less alone or lost than before. The dog can keep her company, but it doesn't change the life circumstances that she's living under. And so that doesn't change anything. She's still stuck in life, and she has to find some other way to move forward. I end that chapter by stating, Katrina gets in the car as the last one, and when she closes the car door, Cooper lets out a happy bark. Yeah, Katrina says to herself and just a bit to the dog, "I know." So I like that. She's finally happy, and yes, life is good and it's okay, and I'm not feeling that bad anymore. This chapter was a bit of a roller coaster in and of itself, because she wants to have it, she's excited. Oh, I'm going to find the dog, but then doesn't, and then she finds it at the end. So it's kind of like a mini story inside the story. But then something changes in the next chapter. In chapter 14, there are a few instances where I switch POVs, but I think and I hope that I managed to tweak it so it's seen from Katrina's point of view instead of stating something like he was angry that, or he was mystified by something, or those are just examples, but it's something like stating something that other person knows. It's how they think, or what they think and what they feel, or how they feel about something, instead of stating how they feel seen from their POV or something. It's not good if you state how someone feels directly. It should be clear by the way people talk and by the way they gesture with the hands, or if they have a frown on their face, or if they're smiling or something. These clues should give away how a character is feeling, but I tend to state outright how a person is feeling or what they are thinking about something, but I'm trying to weed that out. And when I see it from Katrina's POV, it's like Dina seems unhappy and she clenches her fist or something like that. Katrina can't know for sure how someone else is feeling, but she guesses based on what she sees, and by describing what she sees, it is described to the reader as well, and then the reader can help in a way to decode what that character is thinking or what they're feeling about something. When they're happy and playing with the dog, they're cheering and jumping around and running and playing with the dog, and it's clear that they're excited. So I that was chapter 13, but it's an example of describing how someone is feeling without stating it directly, and maybe I should be better at that. I'm not sure, but I hope that I'm weeding out these things that are seen from another character's point of view and then switching it so Katrina observes them instead of hearing someone else's thoughts in a way. I don't have a specific example, but I have marked them in blue so they stand out to me when I read through the novel, and then I can look at it and think about it and decide what I'm going to do with that. So there were a few instances where I tweaked it so it's from Katrina's point of view, and that she observes someone instead of someone else mingling in the middle of the story. In chapter 14, I switched POV 2 times toward the end of the chapter, but I don't think I can do anything about that. As far as I know and remember, they need to be there because Katrina can't know these things. I state something like she doesn't notice how someone is looking after her or looking at her as she walks away. And because she's walking away, she can't know what's going on behind her. She can only hear what's going on, but she can't hear someone looking at her. And so she has no idea that one of the other characters is watching her walk away. Maybe she can guess that someone is looking at her, but she can't know unless she turns her head to look back, but she doesn't do that. I have 2 instances of that where I write something that is happening around her that she isn't aware of, but in order to create suspense, those instances need to be there to intrigue the reader. So, oh, okay, what's going on here? If I didn't include it, it was just, oh, she's walking away, and then that's that. There's no intrigue and there's no drama or no build up of suspense. But because I add those, it's clear to the reader that something else is going on, and my main character isn't aware of that. I have learned that it's not a good idea to switch POV. I have chosen this close third, but sometimes I zoom out and then it's omniscient third person instead. But I think it just needs to be that way. Sometimes I switch POV so it's close third, but from another character's point of view, and I try to do something about those instances. For example, in a conversation when Katrina is talking to someone else, she can guess based on the clues, as I talked about before. If a person is talking in low voice and looking away, or maybe rubbing their hands or something, it can give a whole lot of other clues than if someone is leaning forward and really seem like they're listening and very engaged in the conversation. It's a different image that the reader will have in their mind. So that was an example, but chapter 14 is basically as it is and as it was before, because I didn't really need to tweak anything. I don't think I need to do anything about it, because there is something going on, but as I said, Katrina isn't aware of what that thing is yet. I hint at it, so the reader will wonder what is going on, but Katrina doesn't know and she can't know. And the reveal is going to come later. But for now, she just needs to observe things and she can't know these other things. The chapter 14 is basically where Katrina is going for a walk with Cooper and then someone shows up. And that other character has basically been stalking her. I indicate more or less that that person has been lurking around and only revealed himself when the dog started to bark at him. So he slipped out from the shadows and revealed himself. That other character has been following my main character, but she doesn't know for how long, and she isn't really sure if that person is shady or it was just a coincidence that the dog happened to notice that someone was behind them and then barked. I, as the writer, isn't sure how long this character has been watching my main character, but he has been watching her for a bit. So when the dog calls him out by barking and he's forced to reveal himself, he has actually been watching. But it's I hope it's not too creepy, because that character isn't really a creepy character. And there's a reveal about that, but that's going to come later. And it's something I won't spoil, because it will spoil the story thing, I think. But yes, this other character shows up and then talks to Katrina, and she tries to give this other character the benefit of the doubt, and then, oh, okay, he's not creepy, he hasn't been watching me. He's just looking for a friend, but he happened to pass by, and then the dog got surprised, and then they don't become friends instantly, but they get to meet each other properly, and then they greet each other and say their names, and the dog eases up a bit because Katrina eases up. She's not afraid of this other character anymore, and then the dog isn't barking at him anymore. And then they get to walk the dog together, and I think it's a nice way of switching the story, so to speak. So this other character that has come along is kind of like a new friend, but Katrina isn't really sure who it is. So, but they get to know each other, and that's going to be fun times later on in the story. So I didn't really change much in chapter 2 that I read through today. Chapter 13 and 14 were just read-throughs and minor edits, but I think that in the next writing vlog I will read through 3 chapters, because then it fits with the plan I have for the rest of the story, I think, at least. The next 3 chapters are ones that I need to read through and adjust minor things in, and then the next chapter after that is going to be a rewrite or a fully new chapter that I'm adding to the story, and I think that needs to be its own chapter. Maybe I will do like I have done a few writing vlogs ago, where I read through a chapter and adjusted that and wrote an entirely new chapter. But I think that I will read through 3 and talk about those, and then I will write the chapter, the next one, in its own writing vlog. But maybe I will switch it up. It also depends on how long this writing vlog is going to be. It tends to be longer the more things I'm working on, the longer the writing vlog will be. And now that I have only read through 2 chapters, I hope that it will still, I hope the video will still be under 30 minutes long, but I'll see. You will know when I do the next writing vlog. I tend to state at the beginning of my writing vlogs what I'm going to do, so you know where I'm at in the process, but also what you can expect that I'm going to talk about in that writing vlog. But yes, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this writing vlog, and I hope you'll watch the coming videos. I've got some plans ahead of me, and that means that I'm going to do a bunch of writing vlogs besides this one until I'm done with this read through and rework and editing of this story. But yes, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed it and that you will watch the next ones. Until then, take care. Thank you for watching.